Hello and welcome back to my design job series. In the previous video in this series, we went over the three main different types of design jobs: in-house, agency, and freelance. And now in this video, in the next two, we're going to dig into each one of those in a little more detail. I'm going to start with in-house design because that is what I do. We're going to cover what the job is and what kind of work you'll do there, some of the challenges that you might face, and also the skills that you need to be good at it. First, a quick refresher. If you're an in-house designer, that means that you're a designer based internally at a company working on their brand and projects. So rather than working with a bunch of different clients, instead you're going to get to know one brand and their app or product, whatever it is, really well. In-house design jobs can kind of be divided into two categories. There's the tech jobs, which are for software companies, for apps, for websites, and then there's the non-tech jobs, which are more for traditional companies, like perhaps a retailer, a magazine, things like that. I would say that graphic design roles are the ones that you'd most likely to find at a non-tech company working in-house, mostly because the companies tend to be smaller and so they're looking for more of a generalist rather than a specialist. Although of course there are larger companies as well in this non-tech space, and in those ones you're more likely to find the specialist roles like illustration, for example. My first role in the design industry actually was being an in-house graphic designer at a distributor that sold like fridges and heat pumps, those sort of home appliances. And in my role, I handled things like branding, advertising, posters, campaigns, and we had like an internal print magazine that we did, so it was a lot of print work with the odd digital thing here and there. Although I would say that these days, especially graphic design roles are getting more and more digital because every business needs a website. Like I said, you'll find these in-house design roles at many different types of companies, from smaller ones like retailers, or there's a lot of like print shops hire in-house graphic designers, and then all the way up to larger companies like magazines, e-commerce stores, and in London especially, there's a lot of fashion brands that hire a lot of in-house designers to work on their website and do their advertising and things. If it's a smaller company you're joining as an in-house designer, first of all, like I said, they're probably going to be expecting you to be more of a generalist. And that also means you won't be working on a design team most likely and have a design manager. So that's something to keep in mind, that you need to be really good at communicating about design to people who aren't designers. A huge portion of in-house design roles these days, though, are in the tech industry, especially if you're living in a major city. And I separated these out because the way design works at a tech company is a bit different from the way it works at a non-tech company. Design roles at a tech company can be split into one of two things usually, either product design or marketing design. Now they're both in-house roles because you're both working for the company and not for other clients. You're working on the same brand, the same product. But product design and marketing design have very different tasks associated with them. A product designer will work on the app or the software, whatever it is that the tech company makes and sells. So they need to be really, really good at UX and UI design, user research, and learning from the user's journey. Unless you join a company in a very early stage, usually being a product designer will mean that you're making incremental changes and improvements to an app that already exists to make it better for the users. Now, UI and UX is also really important in marketing design because one of the main tasks of a marketing designer is to design the website that markets the tech product. But usually a marketing designer will also work on things like branding, advertising, marketing collateral, whatever it is that the company needs in order to market their product. So while most tech company marketing design roles will have a digital website design focus, you also need some classic graphic design skills in there to apply to all of those other tasks. One of the main challenges that I've come across being an in-house designer over the years is that because design is generally just a part of the organization rather than the focus of it, like it would be at a design agency, for example, you often find yourself having to fight for the value of design and explain it to people. So I've had to get really good at communicating why design is important over the years. You have to kind of learn a spiel that you can just spit out explaining why design isn't just making things pretty, but is instead a vital part of building a brand that people trust and making information really easy to understand and digest so that people are more likely to be educated and stick around. Another challenge with in-house design is that you are working with the same brand day in, day out. And of course there's room for creativity and changes, but you can't go wild and do a completely different style for every single new project because things would get very fragmented. And especially if you're part of a design team, you need to make sure that any huge shifts in style, even small ones really, need to be discussed within the group so that everyone is aware of it and on board, because that's a style that they're going to need to incorporate into their designs going forward. So there are probably more constraints with in-house design than there would be at, say, an agency where you can essentially start fresh with each new project. I would say that in-house design is more about incremental changes to improve the way that information is displayed, the way something works, in a way that still fits with the brand. I mean, I personally enjoy those constraints and I enjoy the personal connection that comes with working in-house for one brand, but I'm aware that not everyone might feel that way. To be a good in-house designer, you definitely need to be good at communication, and like I said before, communicating with people who aren't in the design world and might not understand all these strange design terms that you're using. You also have to be good with communicating with your team, because this is not your project in a silo, but it's actually a project that affects the whole team. For example, if you wanted to tweak the shade of blue that you use slightly, you've got to tell the rest of your team because they've got to update it across all of their designs as well. So you've got to be mindful of things like that. You also need the ability to step back from your work to critique it, because you do feel quite a personal connection to it. So it can be really easy to be too close and harder to be objective. You should also be good at keeping things cohesive, so the ability to zoom in and really perfect one small piece that you're working on, but then also zoom out and look how that fits within the wider picture of the designs that all the rest of your team and company are creating. As you heard, there's slightly different technical skill sets depending on what type of in-house design you want to do. So to be a marketing designer at a tech company or design in general at a non-tech company, you do need to be more of a generalist, and I would say with more of a focus on web design, because this is 2017 and everyone lives on the internet. And then if you wanted to be a product designer, your UI and UX skills would have to be absolutely top notch, because that's what you'll be spending most of your time doing. To round this whole look at an in-house design job off, I would say that it would really suit someone who firstly doesn't mind working with the same brand and having some constraints to work on things in an incremental process, to create something, learn from it, and improve on it next time. If you like trying new styles all the time and doing something completely new, then it's probably not going to be for you. But if you do want to feel more of a personal connection to the brand, then in-house might be ideal. So that, my friends, is a more in-depth look at what an in-house design role is, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some value from it. If you've got any questions about it though, please leave them down below in the comments, because I would definitely be keen to answer those. If you didn't hear yet, I started a Patreon, which is really exciting. I'm basically using it as a membership site where you pay a monthly fee and you get a bunch of different content to learn from. So there's things like assets to do with my videos, behind the scenes content. Even one tier has a monthly Google Hangout call. We can discuss anything that you're working on, get critique, whatever it is you need. I'm pretty excited about it, and there's a bunch of really great people in there already. So if you want to join, it'll be on a card, it'll be linked in the description, and what do you know, the link's on the screen as well. So hopefully see you in there. Thanks for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.